Hey guys, I'm Dimension Jumper, and today I'll be doing my top 5 favourite bosses from Super Mario Galaxy 1. Now, I would say that Mario bosses are fairly simple when it comes to fighting them, and with Mario Galaxy and its sequel, I feel like a lot of the bosses in that game feel refreshing a bit because a lot of bosses are very different and they don't require you to just stomp on the heads like with the Koopalings or Bowser Jr. or whichever game you're playing in, whether it's any of the new Mario Bros games or Mario Land 3 or whatever. So yeah, I would say that I feel like the whole bosses in Mario Galaxy is very refreshing, and yeah, I'm just going to be talking about some of my favourites. So for number 5 is Bowser. Now with Bowser, I feel like this is the coolest version, one of the coolest Bowser fights we've had in a long time, and I do like his boss fight the ones you do in Mario Odyssey. They are great, but I feel like the Bowser fights in Galaxy 1 are a lot more cooler and a bit more fun, mainly because in the fights that you do have against Bowser, you're basically on this planet, and what you have to do is try and make Bowser hit these orb lava things, and that'll make his tail go on fire, and you have to try and hit him, and after a couple of hits, you'll get the star. But what I like about this is that it can be very challenging sometimes, mainly because he can create shockwaves, he can throw out fireballs, and in the very last fight against him, you have not only one planet, but 3. So you've got the first planet, which is basically where you try and hit Bowser when it becomes this giant rock boulder thing, and they try and hit his face. The second planet, he'll do a similar attack on the first planet, but he'll be encased in a shell, and you try and hit him by using these sort of balloon spring things. And the final planet is basically like the other 2 boss fights in the game, where it's basically a lava pod things, and you just make Bowser hit them. And those fights are really interesting because each fight make you more think on your feet and try and dodge Bowser's attacks, try and hit his tail, try and hit him once he's fallen over, and it's just a really cool way of just fighting Bowser, and I think it's really interesting. For number 4 is King Caliente. Now, King Caliente, I think, is an interesting boss in this game, mainly because he's one of the few bosses in the whole game that has 2 versions of his fight, with both being the same version, because he's got one normal fight, I believe, in Space Junk Galaxy, I believe, if not a completely different galaxy that I've probably forgotten the name of. And then there's another one in which he is the second to last Grand Star boss before you go fight off Bowser, and his second fight is a lot harder, mainly because you've got these platforms that are over lava, and the platforms sink anytime that Mario's on one of them. So it's really more of just trying to avoid these, not only avoiding the meteors things that King Caliente fires, but also these blue fire enemy things. And yeah, I think that King Caliente is just it's a very unique boss, because you don't really see giant squid bosses in video games. The only one I can really think of is in Mario Sunshine, where you have to fight off these giant bloopers around several of the areas. And yeah, I would say King Caliente is a really interesting boss, and I do like the whole like squid monster octopus thing in space. I think that's a really interesting boss, and I really hope we see more bosses like that in the future Mario game, maybe, because like in Mario Odyssey 2, if there's ever a thing, maybe there could be a kingdom where it's been in danger of or being attacked by a squid octopus thing. I know there was like something similar like that in the first Odyssey game, or basically Mario Odyssey. But if there's ever a sequel to Mario Odyssey, I hope that it's a boss similar to King Caliente. For number 3 is Kingfin. Now, Kingfin is, I believe, one of, if not the only underwater boss in the entire game. And with Kingfin, he's basically this giant fish skeleton, the skeleton fish. And he can summon various other smaller fish skeleton things. And what I think makes this fun is it's actually cool. This is one of the few underwater boss fights that doesn't truly suck. The whole water stuff, like, it does get, for me personally sometimes, when it comes to some of the underwater stuff in Mario Galaxy, it can be hard to control at first sometimes, but that was always like, I always get used to it like within 5 minutes. And with Kingfin, it does take some time to try and hit him, because you have to use these Koopa shells in order to hit him. And there's always, there's a lot of green ones, a couple of red ones, but I would say use the red ones because they are the homing ones. They can home in on Kingfin. And yeah, I would say, even though he doesn't hit you, I still like the whole thing of how he summons these smaller fish to attack you. That's really cool. It's kind of like the Morphle fight in a sort of sense from Twilight Princess, but I feel like it's a whole lot better, mainly because you're in a sort of like planet-sized arena, and you've got a ton of things just coming towards you and stuff like that. So I still like the whole boss fight. I think it's really interesting, and I think it's a nice underwater level fight. For number 2, it's Fiery Dino Piranha. Now, this boss is like King Caliente, in which there's 2 versions of this. With the first one, because there's Fiery Dino Piranha and regular Dino Piranha. Now, regular Dino Piranha can be found in, I believe, Goodegg Galaxy, and it's one of the first bosses that you fight in the game, if not the first. And what I like about Fiery Dino Piranha is that it's towards the very end of the game. I think it's in Lava Galaxy or Molten Galaxy. I've forgotten the name of the galaxy, but it's one of the last galaxies you go into in the game, and it's a galaxy completely covered in fire. And what I like about this particular boss is that it has even though it acts the same as the normal Dino Piranha, it's actually on fire. This version of the Piranha, and it has a time limit and a small window of when you can actually attack the tail, and in order to deal damage, because it has a pattern of going up in flames and then going off, and it does that cycle of every 5 seconds or so. And yeah, I would say it's a lot more challenging than the regular one, because with the regular Dino Piranha, it's just hit the tail, it's down, you grab the star. With the Fiery Dino Piranha, it's more about timing and just aiming your attacks and just spinning at the right time before you get the star. And so it's so cool. And again, I do hope we get more bosses like this in the future, of like a boss that turns on fire every 5 seconds or so, and then you beat that particular boss in the game. Maybe in Mario Odyssey 2 we can see a boss similar to Fiery Dino Piranha. And for number 1 is Bouldergeist. Now, Bouldergeist is a strangely interesting boss. It's a really fascinating way of a boss, because it's basically a boss that's made entirely out of stone, and there's like a ghost possessing it. But what I like about this boss is the whole fight you do in it, in the sense that the first phase is basically just the main body, and it can summon various rocks, whether that's normal ones that have coins, or ones that have booze in it that can explode. And yeah, and then that's really cool, because you have to try and, again, like with Fiery Dino Piranha, you have to try and aim your attacks on Bouldergeist, and then in phase 2, it will summon hands, and again, you have to try and aim your attacks with the exploding booze, and you can grab I think as 4 or 5, if not more, multiple more than that of the exploding boost at once. And again, it's all about timing your attacks, and you have to try and even if you destroy one hand, it can regrow it after some time. But again, you have to try and avoid the attacks, whether that's the rocks that it throws or the stones that it summons to sort of trap you, to attack you with its hands, that kind of thing. But I do like the whole way of just trying to attack it and using the boost to your advantage. That's really cool. And yeah, I think it's one of my favourite bosses in the whole game. So that's been my top 5 favourite bosses from Super Mario Galaxy 1. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.